In this Clash of Clans video for Town Hall 9, we are going to teach you the best attack strategy for 3 stars. The Lavaloon can take down any Town Hall 9 base as long as you can use it correctly. This video does not feature bowlers in the clan castle, only Town Hall 9 troops. Whether you are joining the Clan War Leagues or regular Clan Wars, this video is going to be very helpful for you, so let's dive straight into it. Alrighty guys, let's go ahead and teach you how to use the Lavaloon Attack Strategy. It's the best strategy because it can be used against any base. It can be difficult to perform, but I will break down a variety of bases with a variety of entries to the Lavaloon so that you have a good amount of options moving out of this video. Now the first base is one that you might commonly see, and it has all of the air defense stacked to one side of the base. This is predominantly to defend against Lavaloon by splitting up the wizard towers, having them at one side of the base, and the air defense, because ideally this defender wants to draw any lava hounds to one side of the base so that your loons are unprotected, and that's why the sweepers are pointing down to the bottom as well. However, if you know what you are doing, you can easily take advantage of this. So let's start it off and be sure to break down this base, but then we have a lot of other ones as well, more common variety bases if you will. This one is specifically designed to defend Lavaloon. Now if there is clan castle troops, obviously you want to take them down. Luring them is a good option. If it is a lava hound in there, then you can pull it out of the way. As long as your queen can get value, then your Lavaloon doesn't really worry about the lava hound in itself. I love the use of the golem up top because it allows one wizard to sneak in and take out one air defense. Meanwhile the queen steps forward and takes out 2 other air defense, so that's already 2 of them down. But the most important thing you are trying to get with your Lavaloon strategy is pathing initially. If your kill squad can do that, then you are setting up yourself to success for the rest of the raid. A couple of loons under haste can take out that 4th and final air defense. Now not only has the air defense gone down, because the air defense really aren't that big of an issue, it's more about the pathing, because now the lava hounds will not be drawn right across the other side of the base. And in terms of defenses, this northern area is taken out, which means the Lavaloon can swoop straight through the middle of the base. So lava hound pathing is great, and also we know exactly where the balloons will go. You do have to bring the balloons in at separate angles, so we have some coming in at 9, others at 6, others over towards 5 o'clock, and what that does is takes out all of the defenses on the perimeter so that your loons clump together in the center and drive through as one force. That is where the haste spells come into play as well. Having haste spells within this style of army composition is definitely what you need, and you will be using them to the perimeter of the base. Get the loons in first, get them into the center, and that's where the heal and rage will then help out. Now you will want to try and take out the enemy archer queen if you can as part of that kill squad. However, remember, pathing is the main thing. You can take her down with a queen pop method or the skeleton spells. In this case, the skeleton spells are dropped on top of the queen, and despite her moving around the base to try and defend herself, get out of the way of the skeletons, she still goes down. Alternatively, you can use a rage spell on top of her that powers the balloons out of radius of that archer queen so that she's not continually damaging them, but also it means that any lava pups in the area, especially if there's an air defense where a lava hound is about to pop, they will be able to then take down that queen. Look at this one balloon which comes in from the back area towards the wizard tower. Now this is incredibly important because your balloons, as much as you put them in surgically initially, you want them to clump in the center of the base to help with DPS, but then moving into the back end of the base, if you have wizard towers, they can really do damage and splash damage onto the balloons, meaning they will go down quick. So one balloon to tank for it means the rest of your loons can take it down, or in this case it even took the wizard tower down. It's always good practice if you can to hold on to 1 or 2 balloons at the end in order to tank like that, but also the balloons, once all of the defenses go down, will then target anything. So you could put the balloon over here to any of these trash buildings in order to try and help take them down. Now, if you are interested in seeing daily educational Clash of Clans videos, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. If you're interested in seeing more Town Hall 9 videos, I will have a playlist linked in the pinned comment, and also it's always down in the description. But let's move on to a couple of other base designs for this specific strategy in terms of the Lavaloon, because it is the best attack strategy for Town Hall 9, and if you get it down, you are sure to have success and help your clan to win the clan wars. So let's move to a different base design. The reason I chose this specific attack for the next one in the video is because this style of Lavaloon is very good for lower level heroes, which I'm sure some of you might be in this situation. Now let me know down in the comments if a lower level hero guide, some of the best attacks you can use for Town Hall 9 with low heroes, is something you would like to see, and be sure to leave a like on the video as well to let me know. But this style of Lavaloon uses that queen pop method we talked about, using the rage spell over the top of the lava hound as it pops so that the pups can take down the archer queen. Now you can always try and do this when there is an air defense next to the archer queen, because you can almost guarantee that your lava hound you come into this area will indeed pop. Now one thing you can do is use your heroes as a sui method, and that is basically just using them, letting them go down, because you're not going to get as much value. So we can essentially take out some of the defenses in this area in order to pass the Lavaloon easier. And obviously a reason we want to come in from this angle is, weirdly enough, we have all of the wizard towers together, so get them early on when you can use your spells, when you can just blast them down. You do not want to come to this area at the end. Let's get into the attack, and then the next variation of Lavaloon I show you will be the best version there is. It's the Queen Charge version. I will break down a few attacks with it for you, but it's definitely the most effective at Town Hall 9. It's just the hardest to do. So the clan castle troops do get pulled if it's ever a fresh hit. That just means you're the first person attacking the base. Then you have to be doing that because you don't know what's in there, and it might indeed take down your Lavaloon if you're not careful. Now guys, all of the attacks you see in this video are by the Lava Pop clan. We are a clan that just has fun with Town Hall 9. Only Town Hall 9 troops though, guys, and if you're interested in joining us, you can check out my Discord down below for all of the information. So we've taken out the clan castle troops with our heroes and taken out some of them defenses, as we mentioned, to clearer path the Lavaloon portion. That's all we want from the heroes. They are low level. It's the strength of the lava hound and the loons that will get this done. So an early rage spell, look, on top of that air defense, what that will do is when the lava hound pops, it will rage the lava pups who will be attracted to that queen, and that's where the skeleton spells are indeed on top of her as well. Like I mentioned in the first attack, be sure to take care when you are placing that skeleton spell that the queen doesn't jump the wall and you miss her. Now the other thing I like about this attack is it doesn't actually go flawlessly, and this demonstrates the strength of the Lavaloon. We do struggle a little bit to get this wizard tower down, but with that second rage it goes down very quick. Obviously that was a very good plan to get the wizard towers down. You do not want that attacking your balloons. Now the Tesla farm down to this corner, that's basically whenever you have all of the hidden Teslas stacked together, is important to use a rage spell on, because they will wipe out your balloons quick, and that's where you want to be committing your spells. If something like that pops, you might have to reinforce more loons, you might have to use a spell there, but ultimately once the wizard towers was down, there was nothing stopping the balloons. And one other important thing is the minions. Do not fail on time, guys, because it's something that can happen with the Lavaloon, especially with lower level heroes. So bring in enough minions. Once the defenses are down, you can spread them around the base in order to help out. But remember, another thing you can do, as I mentioned in the first attack, is save onto 1 or 2 balloons, especially if you are coming to a back end wizard tower. That just means you could have deployed 1 or 2 balloons onto these storages, which would have helped drastically. But But let's move across to the most powerful variation of Town Hall 9 Lavaloon, which is the Queen Charge, but let me know in the comments if you disagree. Here we go then. For the Queen Charge, you want to try and use wall breakers. The reason for that is they are so much more value than using a jump spell. In some situations, it might be best to use one, but if you can get used to using the wall breakers, you can save your spells for the Lavaloon, and it's not like Town Hall 10 or above where you have multi-infernos to deal with. As long as you use a test wall breaker and you plan where they will go, which I'm going to help you with in these replays, then you should be okay, guys. Now ultimately, you want to try and get what we have discussed in the first couple of attacks, plus a few other things. If you are using a Queen Charge, you're committing quite a lot here because you're using healers, you're using coconut loons, so what that first balloon was to do was purely to check for black bombs because you do not want one of them taking out your healers. Also, you might need to use a funneling troop or two, you might have to use some troops to lure the clan castle. If that's the case, that's actually what the balloon was used for over by the mortar. You can rewind just a couple of seconds, double tap the left of your screen if you're on mobile in order to see that, but that's what that was for. Now, as you get closer to your entry point, this one wall breaker that is sent in by himself is to check for small bombs. If there were a small bomb in this area, it would blow up all of the wall breakers. In fact, there is not, but there is one, and the wall breaker went down. Now, wall breakers target buildings, not walls. I know that sounds confusing, but that's where the wall breakers initially targeted this wall, but once the Queen took out the two buildings, they then redirected down to this wall because they were then targeting the buildings in the other compartment. I know that sounds confusing, but as you practice it, it will be much better. Try if you can to combine your wall breakers with the rage spell deployment. So we use the rage in order to help our Queen through the enemy Queen, and that's where the wall breakers can get even more value. In this case, they actually dodged the rage spell for some reason, but our Queen is into the base here. Do not forget about the opposite side. This is something that a lot of people forget about. So very briefly, guys, if you need to, let's say if there were buildings here, you would funnel, the Queen walks down, but even if you open up the wall, you've got to take out this area as well to redirect the Queen into the base. Otherwise, there's a chance she can be drawn right around the outside. So the Queen's onto the inside. We've taken down the enemy Queen. We know that we are attacking from the opposite side to the clan castle, and we've already tested for air targeting troops within that, so our Lavaloon is safe. It would only be if the Queen got in that region we would have to worry about potentially something coming out, but the Lava Hounds will come in with that balloon portion well before we get to that stage. So again, think about pathing for your lalo here. The Queen, when she starts beating on the wall, and we know where the pathing is going to be, this is the time when you can start thinking about the lalo, and you do not want to run out of time on this either. So think about the sweepers, and we have one pointing this way. The Queen is busting through the wall in order to wipe out this sweeper, so it makes sense to loop around this way with the lalo. If you can avoid a sweeper, then definitely, guys, you want to do that. So in comes the two lava hounds. Again, for the Lavaloon portion, I might not have mentioned this too well actually. You want to try and target your lava hounds at separate angles to the air defense, wherever that might be. You might put two of them to one air defense, but put them into two separate angles in order to check for other bombs, and also you might be able to tank extra defenses. Then we've mentioned the balloons at separate angles as well. Just a few to each defense, but what you want to try and do in an ideal world is one-shot the defenses. As they get to the air defense, it goes down. As they get to the Tesla, it goes down. You need momentum through the base. Balloons should one-shot a defense, move on. You need enough to one-shot the defenses in that area and use the haste on the perimeter with then the rage or heal, depending on what you want to take, in the center of the base. That is your main focus. This was a beautiful attack. The Queen's still alive with full health due to the healers. We've got minions around and more than enough balloons left to finish this one off. Obviously, we knew we weren't finishing on a wizard tower, so we didn't necessarily have to save onto the balloons. But why don't we show you one more example of this Queen charge to finish off the video? Another beautiful example of the Queen Charge Lalo, and this is your best strategy. The Lavaloon is the best in general. I've shown you a few different examples throughout this video, but if you really want maximum power, practice the Queen Charge as an entry. Also, if you are a Town Hall 9, it will serve you well moving on to Town Hall 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever. The Queen Charge is one of the most skillful strategies in the game, and it will definitely help your skill level massively. You've got to get that funneling right, which is another key aspect. Again, the Baby Dragon and Wizards helping to do that, to drive the Queen down over and around towards the Town Hall. Look at the use of the wall break. One initially, the second two maybe a slight bit quick, but they get forward into that area. But what I really love here is the deployment of the next wall breakers. Again, in combination with that rage spell, the king was used to funnel and come in towards the base with the queen, with the rage spell in place to help the queen through the enemy queen, the enemy clan castle troops. Here come the wall breakers, whilst the buildings are still there, remember, so they don't retarget, and boom, it gets the queen into the center of the base. Once you're there, once you've got that value, start the Lavaloon. You might as well try and protect your queen as well. Don't try and get too greedy and have her take too much. So when she's in the middle, she's protected here, the sweepers are pretty much taken care of, and you have this nice area where we've carved out the middle. We can now Lalo around the base. Granted, you could come from either side here, but with the sweeper, we might as well come from this opposite side where there are two wizard towers, and we're kind of out of the way of it. So in comes the lava hound and the loons. Again, look at the loons from separate angles trying to swamp onto the defenses. In comes that lava hound, and once the balloons approach this next air defense, you now see the second lava hound coming in. So you have that nice rhythmical deployment. One lava hound, you don't want both of them across the other side of the base taking damage, so the second one came in delayed, so that when the balloons did get to this air defense, it was still there, still tanking, and just continue to rage or haste the balloons around, moving through to the back end of the base. If you do have a wizard tower you are worried about, you might try and haste into it, rage into it, save onto a balloon or two, but that is your Lavaloon strategy, and it is the best attack strategy at Town Hall 9. If you want to know the easiest attack strategy, it's probably the witches. They are incredibly easy. I've done a video on that as well. It's within that Town Hall 9 playlist I mentioned in the pinned comments and down in the description, along with a ton of others. But the witches are banned in some leagues if you do run community leagues, so you might not be able to use them. However, if the Lavaloon's not for you and you want to know the top 3 Town Hall 9 attack strategies, be sure to check out this video, because that will explain all 3 of them to you. Lavaloon's included in there, but go ahead and watch it, guys. You'll get another few attack strategies, but that wraps it up for this one. Until next time, peace out.